I'm riding down Duggins Lane into Coventry on a Sunday afternoon, beautiful day. It's about 4:30 and I'm heading for my home in St Andrews Road in Earlsdon. I'm going to point out some of the difficulties of cycling to Earlsdon from Duggins Lane and the Berkswell and Balsall Common directions, focusing on things like the road surface, which here is now excellent, and other problems. I'm signalling left to turn into Station Road, looking right, and almost immediately signalling right to turn into Torrington Avenue. Quite a difficult turn during the week when there's much more traffic about and a lot of oncoming vehicles. Again, the road down Torrington Avenue is now generally excellent. One or two trenches across the road in this upper section, but otherwise fine. I mention road surfaces because riding on a road full of potholes and botch repairs and so on can be very difficult when you're in quite a lot of traffic. You're thinking about how do I dodge the potholes or the botch repairs, and at the same time deal with cars coming up behind you and starting to pass you and so on. It's really wonderful riding down here at this time on a Sunday with the sun shining and the tailwind. Delightful, in fact. This next section of Torrington Avenue can be quite difficult during the week. There's a lot of heavy commercial traffic around, pulling out, turning in the road and so on. And I've had one or two difficult moments, particularly with vehicles pulling out, not only in front of me but in front of other vehicles, and there's been lots of screeching of brakes and burning rubber and so on, and you can feel a bit exposed on a bike in the middle of that sort of situation. I'm approaching some traffic lights, which I'm hoping will be green, slightly uphill. I don't want to lose my momentum. They are green, that's great. Straight through. Beautiful road surface down here. At one time the lower part of Torrington Avenue, including the part I'm on now, used to be really quite dreadful. I'm approaching a traffic island, so I'm conscious of what's behind me, if anything. I'm keeping reasonably well out from the curb to avoid people coming round me on the outside, turning left, round the island, signalling left, and continuing down Torrington Avenue. Again, during the week, this section here can be quite challenging. A lot of very, very large commercial vehicles going in and out of the factories on either side. But generally speaking, the drivers of HGVs are by definition professional drivers and are very good. I'm now away from the commercial area. I'm approaching the new Costco, and this has created a bit of a difficulty. I want to turn right on the A45, the highway, so I need to signal quite early and move out, but if I do that too soon, drivers coming out of Costco, the new exit, could think I'm trying to turn in there, which makes things difficult. So I'm keeping well out, looking behind me, and I'm not signalling until I get past that exit, which I'm doing now. I'm turning right, unlike the motorised traffic, onto this cycle path. The 1930s planners had foresight, and they put big cycle paths come footpaths at the side of the A45. It's clearly defined here, the distinction between cyclists and pedestrians. I'm looking at those pedestrians. They can and do step into the cycling side, or indeed walk in it all the time. The division has now disappeared as I go over the railway bridge. And as I come out the other side of the bridge, there's no division whatsoever, which means it's every person for themselves, which is not satisfactory at all. I have a lot of conflict down here with pedestrians. If there were a cycle track on the left, there'd be major problems. This speed camera sign that I'm passing now will be right in the middle of it, and even worse, there's a redundant barrier just coming up on that side. There it is. And again, that will be right in the middle of it. I'm very conscious of breaking the law. I'm going onto a footpath and going onto a pedestrian underpass. I can no longer walk across the road as I used to do because of large barriers in the centre. If I do have a right to ride down here, and it showed as a cycleway on the Coventry map, then that should be indicated in some way. I do not like breaking the law, which I am doing, and I don't want to do it, but I've really got very little choice at this point. Out into the sunlight of Burnsall Road. It's been resurfaced, fantastic. It used to be, again, really terrible. Quite a lot of commercial traffic during the week, which you've got to be aware of and deal with. And that doesn't help on a very bad road surface. I'm approaching Sir Henry Parkes Road, where I'm going to go straight across into the other half of Burnsall Road. Here I'm at Henry Parkes Road, looking both ways. Car coming, stopping. Straight across, the car signalled, which can make a change, a pleasant change. I'm now signalling right to turn into Canley Road. The car didn't signal. And almost immediately signalling left to turn into Bott Road, which has a very poor road surface. That's a difficult turn at all times. Pedestrians can be walking along the road, cars can be coming out. It's very narrow. You should be very careful at that point. I'm now approaching Ainsbury Road, where I'm going to signal right. Which I'm now doing. And again, I'm coming up to a point on the ride where I'm going to be breaking the law, even though it's shown on the Coventry cycling map, and that is the little throughway between Ainsbury Road and Nightingale Lane. And again, if I'm allowed to ride on this, and I see the police riding it, or used to do, I should be told. There's a very high step. Not sure what the barriers are for. I had to help a disabled lady in a wheelchair up that step a couple of weeks ago, otherwise she could never have got up. I always defer to pedestrians, of course, through the other barriers. and into Nightingale Lane. Not a good surface, but the real problem here, as in Bott Road, is the lack of pavements, and pedestrians insist, the vast majority of them, on walking with their backs to the traffic instead of facing it, as the highway code says they should. And you get it all the time, of course, on country roads. I would say 19 out of 20 walk with their backs to the traffic. I'm approaching Bates Road, where I'm going to turn left, signalling. I can safely say that the top part of Bates Road, up until a couple of years ago, was the worst road surface I've ever cycled on in my life. It was a disgrace, and trying to dodge the potholes there and the botch repairs from previous years was a nightmare, with cars coming up from behind, impatient to get past. It was very dangerous. I'm approaching Beechwood Avenue, which again has been resurfaced and made a massive difference, particularly going up to the Kenilworth Road. Signalling left, turning left, immediately signalling right to turn into Rochester Road. Again, it's been resurfaced and a whole minefield of potholes has been eliminated. Turning left, signalling into St Andrews Road. A poor surface to ride on, but not particularly problematic. And I'm back home.